Hey guys, thanks for joining today. Um, hey, let's just jump right in. So, Felix and Luca, we have a lot of activity going on in the markets. Tesla Investor Day was yesterday, and it seemed like, from what I understand, is that Elon came out and he hyped up a new, potential car, and everyone got excited about this new design and everything, but he didn't show any or give any meat on the bone or show any details of it yet. So it seems like the market is reacting a little bit negatively to that. But what did you guys see?
I think I actually tried to watch the meeting, and I mean it's amazing how seemingly unprepared they were. Usually, you're up there, you're getting people excited right away. They went through a long process of trying to get to the meat of the presentation, and I just thought that it fell flat right from the beginning and probably lost a lot of people. And I saw the stock trading off because of it was the opening. The first 20 minutes was just not good. It was not what people expected. And Elon has this way of trying to build up to like the end. So I was thinking, okay, they're gonna come out with something at the end, like a la Steve Jobs used to do at the very end. Oh, and by the way, we have this, and it's like some brand new thing. You're like, oh my God, stock rips, right? Here it was like, okay, get to he's telling us about how it's gonna happen, and EV trucks to cars to this to solar. It was a little bit slow and fell flat. And you could see why the stock was, people just gave up a little bit. That said, the stock didn't really go nowhere. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you're talking about 100 point move from the bottom. Last time we spoke, we were talking about this meet right around 205. And sure enough, the day before the meeting, it went to 205. The market was just waiting to either blast off or pull back. To me, this is considered a pullback, and the amount of options that were on the table going into that meeting, the opening bell was a buy, right? Stocks stop with so much options looking for a move, and the move just flows down 6% on the open. It wasn't going to stay down there for long in the morning, just because everybody's getting out of their puts. They're trying to cash out. So looking at that, I said, okay, this thing's going to fluctuate a little bit and move up and down. Now what? Today we saw, the several big chunky put buyers, which, there was one in, I'm looking at it, May 19th, 135 put. So May 19th, 135, stock trading 190. They bought about 13,000 of those. It was big chunky trades. It was a big player. The other trade that went up was the 190 puts, March 10th. So that's next week, 190 puts. They paid $12 bucks for a ton of those too, but I think it was 10, 15,000 of those. So that's telling you, what is that telling you? That's telling you that some of the big money is basically saying, okay, we had a 100-point run. We were waiting for something exciting, and I'm going to buy these puts to protect my position. Sometimes they actually do it in front of selling. So they actually would buy the puts, and then over the course of the next couple of weeks, they're going to start selling out of some options. So that's what we saw. If I could share my screen, can you put the share thing on? I'll show you how to look at it.
Anyway, while you try to fix the camera, so I'll talk a little bit about the presentation, because like you guys, I watched it, and there was some expectations, but prior to, so usually there are dark pool activities and things that happen prior to big events, whether it's earnings or a presentation like this kind. There was nothing, so I was expecting more of a mute tone, like quiet, nothing going on, and even on price action. And that was my experience, the experience of most people, and we saw it in price action. One interesting thing that, so first of all, it took forever to get going. They had this music going on, spinning around. They're like, oh my gosh, this is like a dragon. That was just the indication. Things are not gonna, the start talking was low. And there was one key moment right at the beginning, they start talking, and I was watching price action, kind of drifting, and there was a pop right when one of the executives start talking about water heaters. My gosh, Tesla water heaters, it's not like the kind of items you wanna everybody has it, so I can see why there was a movement in the stock. Oh, yeah, great idea. There's something that it's in everybody's house. Maybe they're working some, but there was no follow through. It was a lot of numbers and a lot of things that there wasn't really much meat on it. And then the things start drifting. And then he launched something else, where the focus shifted on the earth. We gotta love the earth. We gotta protect the earth. It's beautiful things. And market dropped, and the price dropped. It's like, the investors don't care about this stuff. So water heaters and climate change, important stuff, but it's not the kind of things that makes price move. And we saw a constant drifting. And interesting enough, today there was a dark pool activity that came in around 186. The price exactly 186.80. And price is currently above that, which generally gives a bullish indication. However, because of the move today and broke I have like a mid channel, price is below it. The rising channel, there's a mid channel at the moment, price is below it. So I see this price drifting lower. So we've been talking a couple of weeks ago, where's the place to sell? So eventually, I think Tesla is going to go higher, big powerful company, great innovators, but with all the challenges that these new technologies facing, the adaptation of the electrification, they talked about lowering costs and everything. They're the best company, best position to do this, but the challenges are huge. And in the short term, whether it is a week, a month, 3 months, I don't know, till the next earnings, which is April 19, I think, I see a pullback. And my targets, I'm looking around 170, the 50 SMA, which is now somewhere around 160, and then 154. So we'll see, how long it takes. If that's the kind of drop we see, that's my projection. We initiated the short position today, so we'll see if that plays out. And the area I'm watching in terms of resistance stops, the ATMA, that's at the moment is like 200. So as long as it remains below 200, to me that's still short. So if he moves back above 200 and then crosses the line that Felix was talking about, 210, whatever the number.
205, yeah, right around 205, 207.
205, 207, okay, yes. So if it comes like above it, builds, then it's gonna go up. But at the moment, especially all these puts that you discover, I see a short-term pullback.
Perfect.
That's our position at the moment, and we'll see. So this is the kind of things we see. This is a sell signal, bearish kicker. There is a break of the channel bar, a mid channel. So that's the kind of stuff. For me, this is the beginning of it.
Perfect.
See what happens. Today is the first day. Sometimes it takes a few days to digest it, and then.
Now, do you layer into the trade, or so? Like, how many? You have one unit. You have 3 units.
So different position. I generally enter a partial position, and then if I get the confirmation, add. And if it gets stopped out because it moves to the upside as a short, then I'm out. So yeah, initial position is partial, and then we add as it confirms. Generally.
So it sounds like there's a couple, like if I look at it the way both you guys are looking at it, it sounds pretty similar. So, either buying puts or going short here, and then as it starts to hit that threshold that you're showing there on your screen for support at the 170-ish mark, you could play both sides of it. So you're short here.
You could. I would be careful. The only thing I would say, and this is the difference between, day trading where he might be out, Luca might be out of the position, he hits 180 something tomorrow, right? I mean, he might.
Well, we are swing like week.
Okay, so week, but it could be tight. Whereas, to buy, what is the Tesla options cost? The Tesla options, they're not cheap, right? You don't get these for free, right? So you look at like March 17 puts in Tesla, and they're going to cost you the 185s are going to cost you $7. So it's got to get to 177 just to kind of 178 just to kind of break even, right? And the risk reward is telling you 169, 170. So that's probably the one you're going to be looking at, although it's going to force, the point is going to come up here somewhere, watch, because it's saying 170 and it's not enough. Like this is what the market is pricing in. Remember, the RR is what the market is pricing in. So what you're paying versus, potentially where it can go. They're saying, if you don't think on the 185s, if you don't think it's going below 169, there's no option for you here. So if
it's not worth paying for it, yeah,
it's not worth paying for it. So it's like in poker when there's a flush draw and you're like, all right, there's $50 in the pot. It's on the turn, and you're going to see one card and the pot's $50 and the bet to you is $50. You don't want to pay 50 to get to 2-1, right? You need more odds to get into that pot. Same thing here. The market is saying 169 is what we're pricing. So if you think 170 is going to be the spot where it turns, this isn't the option. This particular option is not for you. Can you do a spread and can you start looking at it that way? You can, and that's just another process. But just picking a put to kind of lean into it, you got to be a little careful. That's all. You're then playing this day trading game in Tesla, and it's hard to date. First of all, it's difficult. The game in general is difficult, right? Then when you're trying to day trade is not easy. It needs a certain mindset. And then when you try to day trade options, leverage, it's really you got to be really focused, because day trading options is just another realm of reality,
I go straight for the stocks, but yes.
That's exactly. And you've been doing it, but I'm telling you, day trading everybody's day trading options. It's just like a whole nother dimension.
Oh, sure. You're going to have the straight $2, $1. You can multiply
another dimension.
Exponentially.
But anyway, so I think, we are seeing similar things. The 170, like Luca said, is I'm looking at it as that's the spot for me where I would try to take a shot. He'd probably take off some of it and let some run. I mean, knowing how certain short swing traders, day traders trade, he's going to let it run until the last part beats him, right? So you're going to take a little bit that, like he said, I get that sell signal. I'm only going to get it. He's never catching the bottom. How about that? Because the bottom is not where he would sell it. He's going to keep riding it until the market says that's the bottom. And I'm going to tell you,
but taking profits along the way, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
And from an investor point of view, we are long on Teslas. But because of this disappointing presentation, there was just lackluster, and the move today, we are seeing for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, price is gonna drift.
A little sell-off.
That's the projection. 170, 50 SMA, which is somewhere around 160, 170, 160, 154, 140. Those are our targets if things drop. There's a channel bottom that comes somewhere around 158, so there could be a resistance. So we're looking about 20 points possibility.
I'm a completely, I can only say my mind is not trained to think that way. My mind is trained to think, if this, then that. If this, then that. So my opinion is worth 0, because where can it go? I have no idea. But if it goes here, at this point, if it goes here and the price is this, that's a good risk reward. I can take that because of what I've now put together. So that's how I would look at it. So Tesla, I would say, I don't know. I'm waiting. I would wait. If it got back to 210, 205, that range, like you said, I would be interested in probably buying puts there until it beats me, right? I'm always trying to tell the market, all right, I want the market to beat me. Go ahead. 205. There it is. I'll jump in a put. If you're going to race up, I'll get out at 210. I'll stop myself above that major line, but you're going to have to beat me, and not just beat me, but beat everybody else who's trying to sell that 205, 207. And if it does, then that's telling you something. That's telling you that it's strong. It's trying to move higher, and you should get out of the way.
Did you guys saw AI reported earnings today?
No. How did it do?
Good pop.
Yeah.
This is something we've been watching. We talked last time.
Yes.
It's made a good move. Something to watch tomorrow. Anyway, just on a
similar
/ different topic.
Yeah. Good.
AI. It's a good move.
What else did you guys see? All right. So you tell me. Pick the next stock, Michael.
How about LAZR? Because it's related to Tesla, right? It's in the
Laser.
same industry or different it's battery technology.
This is
So
one
let-
stock. I'll let Luca take this. This is one stock. I don't look at it as much because it's under $10, but there are so many options trading in LAZR. It's hard to keep up with the action. It's huge. It's one of the big traders in options. But go ahead. I don't know much, but I kind of stayed away from it.
So Laser is something that we've been following starting a few weeks ago. Last week, in fact, was a swing. There was an announcement, Mercedes-Benz partnership, and Laser Luminar technology. They do safety for the car of the future. It's AI and all kinds of stuff of safety, vehicle safety. And so they've been partnering up with Mercedes-Benz and other automakers. And there was a big flow of options, dark pool activities. As part of the move, let's see, the 21st, there was, if I can show my chart, maybe you can see a little better what I was looking at. And you guys can see the chart?
Yes.
Yeah, here was a red candle on the 21st. And then on this day, this red candle on the 22nd, it was starting to move. As something was coming up on the scanner, and then came the announcement. Mercedes-Benz is partnering up. So we initiated a swing that day. It was somewhere around the 680, and did a consolidation the following day, and has been trading up. For us, just for an example, we entered at 680. The target was 780, 920, 1070 channel top. Those are the three targets we were looking at. So for us, it's already reached two targets, and there was earnings in between on the yesterday. Yesterday was the earnings. And over the past couple of weeks, the past few days, there were quite a bit of dark pool activities, 4.5 million, 2 million, so accumulation. And earnings, it's always a gamble. You don't know which direction is going to go. So for us, exit, I usually don't hold position during earnings. Take the profit, or if there's a loss, get out. And so for us, reach two targets. I was happy with that. We open lower, but it continues to show some bullish technicals. And if we step back, look at the volume that has been coming up over the past few weeks. I mean, it's the largest volume, green, since January 2022. Right? So this is a lot of puts and calls and activities, bullish activities that has a potential to send the price higher. And technically, so I look at this channel, broke the moving averages, the 200 SMA, and those recent highs, 820. So as long as it remains above those two areas, 200 SMA and the 820, and breaks above the Tuesday high, this is a potential to extend. And again, I do short-term trading, swing, so a week, 2 weeks, a month, right? But sometimes things also become position trading. We hold longer, like Tesla. January, beginning of January to basically today. Today we close the position fully, enter a short. Right? So sometimes the short-term trades, even our day trades, sometimes they give such a big push that it becomes a swing. An example today, Dual yesterday, Duolingo, they reported earnings and a breakout of this descending trend line. We day traded yesterday, but the volume was so good, it became a swing. So this has the potential when you have this kind of breakout with this kind of volume, and this was a company that came down very heavily from 200 down to 100, actually 86, down to 60 a few months ago. So quite a bit of potential of those kind of moves. So there are opportunities out there, and I always go back, what is your time frame? What is your vision for this particular trade? We do short-term trading, so that's where we trade it, but sometimes things change. And in trading, what I notice, what I believe is just flexibility. If you get stuck, this is what I see. That's when oftentimes people lose money, because They stuck to their view, to their opinion. You gotta read the technicals, you gotta look at the options, you gotta see what shows up in the chart, and sometimes be willing to, this is not really working. I was wrong, take the loss. Or modify your view. This is extending beyond my short-term trading. Maybe I can ride this wave a little longer. That's
So
Hey,
it.
Luca, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mike.
I was actually gonna jump on to another idea, but if you had a question, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say in Luminar, so they're in the lidar stuff. So okay, so Luminar Tech. So when I'm looking at, if I don't know a stock, let's just assume I don't know a stock. A way that you can easily just figure out what's going on is, here's the open interest, right? So the open interests, I created this diagram of all the different expirations, all the strikes, and here's the open interest in the calls and the puts. And what I teach is that the open interest is a view on where the bets are being made. Where's the options? Where are the open interests? Now, are they bought? Are they sold? Forget about that for right now. Let me show you my screen here.
So that's currently where people hold the positions.
Yeah, so this is where people have positions on, okay? So I'm looking at Luminar Tech, LAZR, okay? I could see calls, I could switch it to puts, and then I can change it to the top 1% positions. This is the top 1% of cells, of all these cells, 5%. I usually start with 5, 10, but 10 gives me maybe a little bit too much. I want the top 5, and I'm looking at where are all the positions. So I have puts here, I have some Januaries, and then this calls. Like I said, there's one guy here that he's trading massive size all over the place, and he's in there every single day. But here we have the 15,000, 1634. Now I can start checking and seeing sort of what traded and when it traded.
Those are contracts, Felix?
Yes, those are contracts. Yeah, 34,000 contracts, 15. So I can start seeing here February 21st, and I can look, okay, this is what you're picking up here. There's been some call activity, a lot of activity there. So this is how I look at it. I then, I won't go through the details. I can go look at some of the stock like today on this board. This is March 2nd. This is the two options I traded the most, March 3rd and March 10th, 9 and 9.5. And then this was, it looks like a spread. So you see here, spread, this traded 10,000 times. The March 3rd, it looks like on the bid side. So they sold the March 3rd calls and they bought the March 10th, 9.5 calls. And they did this to close. See the 16,000? So that's what we know he had coming in, open interest. We know he has somebody has 16,000. Today, they actually traded a total of 16,000, 15,700. Looks like they closed them out. This was the big trade, but he probably did some more over here. We can look. I won't do it now. So he closed out the 10,000, and you could see traded the exact same time. It says spread on the floor, trades 10,000, 10,000, March 10th, 9.5 calls. And because he sold these, he bought these. So now I know that he's moved from 9 calls to the 9.5 calls next week. Okay, next week. So that just happened today. But this guy's in here all day, every day when it was going down, buying put. This is one big player, and it's hard to catch. It's hard to catch exactly which direction. He originally, when it was 21, he was shorting it. He was buying puts. And then since then, he's been all over the place. But that's LAZR. Now on the stock, I just, again, try to frame it. I'm finding that level that is important. And then I'm looking at it and saying, okay, now where can the stock go to? So clearly 11 is an area of resistance. But, if I'm looking at this sort of ABC move down, where does it get me here? This took a month for it to move, and I get off the page, so it gets me right to 10. 10 is obviously not 11, but on 10, and saying, okay, that would be a completion of an ABC. But if this was different, if it was one leg, two leg, if this is A, B, or sorry, 1, 2, 3, and this is going to be the 4th wave down and then a 5th wave up, then you can start getting up to this level up here. But still, 11 is sort of that big level where I'm a little nervous. If I'm playing options, again, LAZR, high volatility name. They're not going to make it cheap, okay, to buy options on LAZR. I can tell you that much. So if I'm saying, okay, 11, it can get to 11 in the next, let's call it 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So I'm going to look then and say, okay, March 17th calls, March 17 calls.
See how much it's going to cost you.
Well, I try not to. I've done the work, as far as technicals, and I'm saying $11. Do I see anything? March 17th. It has me here at the 9 calls for about 74 cents. Leverage is in this this would be unshaded, but in the unshaded area is sort of where I'm looking to find real value, because that's where I'm getting the most leverage, right? And 11 seems a little bit tight. I'd have to think, sorry, I have to think 12. Get that back down to 12. I'd have to think 12 to start thinking about 9.5. 9.5 would get me, it would be, what's that, $2.50, 50 cents to make 2. So it's giving me 4 to 1. So this, I'm sure, goes to 11.5. You're going to get around the same thing. 11.5 is 2, so 3 to 1. So I need a little bit higher than 11 to sort of think that this 9.5 at 50 cents is good. Otherwise, I'm pushing my luck here a little bit. I'm pushing my luck. So that's what this is. That's what the board is trying to say, and it's trying to help me define where I want to be. Now, because 11 is such a clear level for me, right? It's a clear level where it was support, broke down. Right now it's resistance again, sort of in this range, and then hard resistance here again, V down. Okay, and that's the wrong price there. So 11 is sort of, I don't see it going through 11 so sharply unless it's like big news. And it could be. So 11 is my spot. Maybe I'm thinking now, okay, so maybe how much are the 11s? Right? Maybe I can sell the 11s, or maybe I could sell the 10.5s. So how about the 9.5, 10.5? For 25 cents, 9.5, 10.5 for 25 cents, right? 3 to 1. It's actually not that bad, right? Now I'm getting a 3 to 1 bet on something that is, Luca's pointed out, it's moving, and it's right in this middle of this potential ABC or 1, 2, 3 type of wave. Okay, so that's how I'm looking at it. It's not bad. Would I love to see a quick, like, on the open? Maybe there's some news or something like that. It goes to like 8.5, and we have this, this area right here at 8 where I can lean against. Yeah, maybe that makes me feel a little more confident. I'd say, all right, now I can just do the 9.10 for probably around 30 cents, right? 9.10 for 30 cents would probably be better than the 9.5, 11, 9.5, 10.5 for 3 to 1 for about.
And how would you draw up your stop on this? So, like, if let's say that some of your students decide to do that and they want to get,
So what I would say is, anything under 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks. So what I teach is essentially, look, the goal is to find great risk reward. Okay. So over the course of a year, if you do 100 trades and you've spotted great risk reward 100 times, then the math should play out. It should play out well for you that, you're not going to win every time. You might lose 10 in a row, but over time, if you're finding these great risk reward opportunities, that the math should work out for you. You should actually trade. It should be, the better you
always
are,
be in the
the better
green.
your analysis is, it should work out. So here, I would say that, but that, finding good risk reward on 2-week, 3-week options is, anything can happen. The market could go down and your stock will go down just because the market's down. So anything can happen. When you go out a little bit of time, swinging, whatever you want to call it, 2 to 3 months, you have there's a lot more emphasis on the stock, right? The stock could actually do something that is going to make it move outside. But look at CRM today. The stock is up, 15%. Even though the market was down in the morning, it was still up 15% because it did something outside of what the market. It was very specific to the company. So what I tell people is, if we're doing, say, $1,000 per trade over the course of time, and you find something that is a week or 2-week or 3-week option on 100 vol, I would say, you don't need to do the full $1,000. You can actually pull back and do 500 to kind of allow the position to play out. And if it's working, maybe add a small, as it's going on, but you want to be quick also to take some profits. And I show my customers, I show anyone that cares how the pros do it, because what they're doing is they're getting it, especially on the fast stuff, they're getting into the trade for $1. If it moves up, they might immediately go to the next strike and take 60 cents off the trade. And there's different ways to do it. You can either do it by, let's say you have 3 lots, you buy 3 lots for $1. You could either do it by taking off 1 lot, which is taking some off, or what they do is they want the momentum. So they're playing the fast momentum game. They'll take all 3 lots off So they paid $1, it goes to $1.50. They take all 3 lots off, and now they buy the next strike up for 50 cents. Now they've taken their money off, they have the trade on, and they're playing that game, and you'll see them move the strikes up and down. And the minute they lose, which is what Luca is basically saying, the minute it turns, they're out. And that last trade, they're probably not going to make a ton. They're just hoping to get out at flat. So they're going to keep rolling and rolling, play the momentum until that last trade comes down, and you could see them rush into the market to get out, and it's about flat.
So they're constantly, it sounds like you're constantly managing the trades to get the best out of it, like versus like a set it, forget it for
when you're trading in options, when you're trading, if you want to trade like the momentum, the names and the way the top guys in the world are doing it, they are essentially they're getting into these trades, and then you will see them roll up. It's called a roll. So they'll buy 10,000, it moves up, they'll sell 10, buy the next strike higher, right? And if the next day it's moving up, they will sell that one and buy the next strike higher. And then the next day it moves up, but then all of a sudden it starts coming back down. They're immediately banging out the 10,000 at the top, and they're just saying, that's it, because in that game, the momentum, could keep going. Like a Tesla could just keep going and going. Nobody knows when it's going to stop. And they're willing to give up some, because they have to pay for a higher strike, but it's just the method to the madness, right? It's, we're playing a leverage game. We're trying to catch the leverage moves. The minute that stops, and on my last trade, I plan on breaking even. We don't know when that last trade is, right? That last trade could be 10 rolls all the way up. And that's what
it's okay, because your P&L was positive because of the other trades you were making.
That's correct. That's the game they're playing. That is the game. And I used to have arguments with, I used to talk to these guys, these big hedge fund guys, and I used to say, why don't you just sell one and ride the other 2, sell the next one, ride the third, and then the third and you know what they would say? Because I want maximum leverage, because I actually think once the momentum comes, I want to be there catching it. It's just a faster game. And they're willing to take, instead of keeping 3, selling one, and then selling the third, what they do is they sell all 3, move it up, sell all 3, move it up, sell all 3, move it up. The minute it shows weakness and comes off, they're out.
And they're based on like a weekly option?
A lot of these, because they've got now they've gone to weekly, but they used to do it back, when I was talking to them at the investment bank about 15 years ago, they would do it on a monthly. It was just because that's all there was, these monthlies. Now the weeklies, you could see them. We're looking at it all day, where they're literally, you could see 10,000 clipped, and you'll see tomorrow in the LAZR, if it's up, he's going to sell some and he's going to buy the next one up, and he's just going to keep riding it. And what the goal is that they're able to do that 4 times and literally they're catching a huge swing. A lot of times you'll see them catch one. I mean, what happens? You catch one, you catch 2, and then the third one comes off. You don't make that much money. So it's like they need that. They play the game to catch the massive move. That's what they're doing. They're playing that game like the Tesla, where it goes from 100 to 200. They're playing that game where they're buying calls, they're letting it ride. As it moves up, they're selling one, they're moving it up, and then it just keeps going. And they're just going to keep following it all the way up, which is very similar. And if you think about it, similar to how you are, Luca, how you're thinking about stocks, right? You're allowing it to go up. You're taking some off. You keep riding it. You take it off. You keep riding. And that's
the smart way to trade, right?
That's the way. That's it. People just think so. It's as opposed to buying Tesla down at 105, buying calls, having it rip, and going, I think it's going to 200. And you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. But that's not the way the big guys generally do it. Not the traders. The investors on the hedge fund side, they're buying it because they like Tesla and they want to get long and it's give good risk reward, and saying, I'm going to be long Tesla for the next 3 months. I think it's going back to 200. That's their thought. That's what they're thinking. They'll still take a little bit off as it goes off, but it's not this constant roll up. So,
but if you're trading, you don't want to ride it and then end up, riding it up and then all the way back down and losing your,
that's right.
I mean, that's hard to look at.
At Options Geek, I have a list of 500 trades, and I can tell you, I make sure people look at it and say, listen, options go from 0 profits to up 500 to 1,000%. And then some of them come all the way back down to 0. And so, I'm not telling people ever to just, you got to go to the top. It's very difficult. It's very difficult for a number of ways. Psychologically, you buy $1,000 worth of something, it goes to 2,000, it's 100%. that trade on that day is no longer $1,000. You're comfortable with 1,000. I always ask people, are you comfortable with 2,000? So if somebody says, oh, I'm going to start with $1,000 per trade, my first question is, are you comfortable with 2,000 when it's, because I'm going to ask you to stay on at 2,000. I'm going to tell you, take a little bit off, but the whole idea is you're trying to catch the bigger moves. It's a game of leverage, and most people underestimate how they're emotionally tied to the trade if they're trading too big.
The larger the
you know,
position, the bigger
Yeah.
the emotion.
And then you
bigger
don't make the
emotions,
right
because-
decision, right?
Yeah, you can't make the right decision, and so that's a little, options have leverage. I would have conversations with customers. Say one person told me he's up $500,000 on GME, GameStop, up $500,000 on like an option that he spent like
Junk.
I want to say five. I mean, it was sick. And I said, hold on. I said, you're up $500,000 and you literally like you haven't sold anything? No, I haven't sold anything. GME was up. I can't remember the exact things, but it was like
$300.
highs. He actually earnings were the next like couple of days. And so he was nervous. What should I do? I hate that question. What should I do? What you should have done about a month ago was take off some of the thing that you had on trade.
Like
That's what you should
more
have
than
done.
half of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what do you do when the stock is literally he was up $500,000. He had just lost because it was coming off. He had just lost like a couple 100,000. That's why he called me. So now I get the call. He's down 200 and he's like, what do I, he's paying me money, telling me, what do I do? I said, I'll give you money back. I don't know how to answer that question. I have no idea, because I'm going to tell you right now, on the open tomorrow, I don't care where it is, you sell it. Okay. I don't care where it is. Are we clear? That's my advice to you. You're going to sell half. You're going to sell half tomorrow on the open, no matter what. The next day, the stock opens up $70. I remember it was like, so I was excited. I was like, awesome. On the open, he's going to sell it. So I'm like, watch it. Now I'm watching Jimmy. I won't touch those stocks, but I'm watching it now because he's my customer. He asked me what he thought I should do. And I said, listen, this is what I would do. I can't tell you what to do, but this is what I would do. Sell half on the open. Sure enough, it's up $70. I don't get a call from him or nothing. I said, okay, I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to send him an email later. After the close, so did you sell it? He didn't sell anything. He goes, I didn't sell it. It was up $70. I didn't sell it. I said, listen, I can't help you. There's no helping. There's no helping someone,
This is one of the biggest mistakes.
It's all emotional. It's 100%
don't have a
emotional.
plan.
Yeah.
Or if
No
they have a
plan,
plan, they don't
exactly.
follow it.
Exactly. The dopamine hits you, and it's a learned process. So everyone is learning that now, and everybody's trying to now. I mean, you could hear what I'm saying, what Luca's saying. You could hear any professional trader. It's the first thing to say is, it's first of all, if you make $500,000 and someone asks you, how'd you make it? And you say, yeah, this is a great trade. I'm long this one, option, one stock. It's not a great trade. Actually, you look like you don't know what you're doing. There's no way you could actually, if you're not acting, there's just no way.
This was really good for the viewers today. I think they're going to get a lot out of this. So thank you both.
Awesome.
I know we're kind of running out of time here. So I think probably best route is to come up with some ideas for next time we meet and come up with some names. I know there's a lot going on in the markets this year. Go ahead, Felix.
I'll just a few, and then I'll let Luca tell us the names. So I like Luca's names. I do look at the AI. I did look at it.
AI tomorrow, folks. AI. See what
it's good.
It keeps rising.
Here's some names that I would say to look at. Celsius, CE, as this is a stock play. The options are a little bit wide, but I'm looking at it as like this is an explosive stock. You know what? You might like it, Luca. Celsius, CELH. That's one. And then Manu, we didn't talk about. We can talk about it next time. This deal, I think there's a good lesson to learn from this deal trade. How to play it, how to think about it. It's different than looking at a stock. It's no deal, it's deal or no deal type of thing. And I think your viewers would like that. Manu, Celsius, and then there's this Walmart trade where it's an options trade. We could talk about it next time, where it's a little bit mispriced, and I can show you why it's mispriced. You're going to pick the direction, and then next week I'll ask Luca what he thinks about the stock.
I'm looking at AI and lasers, LAZR, which we discussed earlier, and Twillo, TWLO. The CEO a couple of days ago bought 10 million shares, and the thing is down from 400 or something to 80.
He bought 10 million shares, the CEO of Twilio?
10 million shares or dollars. Like he bought a lot. Confidence.
Difference.
It's a big difference, right?
Shares a
I remember
dollar,
the
okay.
number. I don't remember the.
But $10 million probably. Okay, that's good. I'll
But-
take a look at that. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Twillo's got potential. Anyway, so those are the two names, primarily
Perfect.
AI and Twillo. Cool.
Yeah, the Celsius is a good one only because, so Celsius, the story just briefly, so I'll give you the quick outline. They reported earnings yesterday. Revenue missed by 1.7 million, and supposedly EPS earnings were down
$10 million.
$10 million. Okay, so EPS was estimated 6 cents. They announced like minus 27 or something like that. So immediately from the headline, the stock was down $7 after market. And a couple of customers asked me what I thought, and I said, this is dumb. You know, they actually, there's a $35 million charge inside the EPS. And if you take that out, they actually doubled earnings, and the revenue was shy $1.7 million. But they're growing revenues at 100%, almost 90 to 100%. Celsius, I don't know if you know the company, they're this energy drink. Okay, it's an energy drink, Celsius, and their whole thing is that it's healthy. Okay, so some of the shorts are saying, well, the valuation of the company is too high for the amount of revenues, amount of earnings. They have very little earnings, as I just told you. So there's that gap between reality and sort of fantasy of what it could be. However, and I usually don't like these stocks to say I want to be a part of it, or I want to invest, or I want to buy calls, or I usually don't. But in this case, I see a path, right? They're growing revenues at 90 to 100%. The big news was in August, Pepsi, like Coke did with Monster, Pepsi bought into Celsius. And you're talking about a company who was going to do 600 to 800 million, I'm sorry, 800 to $1 billion, say, next year on their own. They signed a distribution deal with Pepsi, which gives them enormous reach. And that's just in the US. Pepsi is huge internationally. And so they'll have that reach out there. So is it an expensive stock? 100%. It's super expensive if you look at what it is. But these guys, if you look at, if you Google it later, you look at a Celsius can, and then go look at like Monster and Red Bull. You know what the Monster looked like, Red Bull. Celsius, you'll look at it and say, wow, it's being, again, healthy and marketed as a coffee substitute. And so you're getting a lot of these suburban housewives, moms saying, okay, this is healthy and I don't need coffee. I'm going to switch over to Celsius and have all these fruit drinks and whatnot. And it's an energy drink, it has caffeine and gets you on your day. So the pie for this energy drink type of how many customers, how much money is in that pie is going to grow. Okay, so they're taking a lot of business away from Monster and Red Bull. The men at the gym, pounding, thousands of pounds, they're going to still take their Red Bull and chug it and Monster and whatnot. But the pie is going to grow because you're getting a lot of like housewives and moms, buying it at Sam's Clubs, at Walmart. They're selling them like hotcakes. Amazon, it's the number one seller, the trending number one seller, Celsius, over Monster, over Red Bull. So you could see what's happening is that Pepsi, the idea is Pepsi's got these coolers in all these stores. So you go to convenience store, there's a cooler, people try it. And once they try it and they like it, they're ordering from Amazon. And so you could see that connection. The street killed the stock last night. It was down $7. I was furious because I was like, this is dumb. There's a $35 million charge. This morning when it came out, stock was down and it wound up going up a $10, $11.
Now the ticker is CELH.
CELH, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
a
can see
reverse
the
today.
big move.
Today's got a reversal pattern.
Yeah, big move today up. It was trading down over the last couple of months because Flow Rider, the rapper, he had a deal. The company lost the deal to him because he was marketing and the CEO, I think, left. And so he was left holding the bag saying, I was your biggest marketer. I'm owed a lot of money. He won a $90 million lawsuit for a company that's small, that's big. He's saying, just give me shares. Shares of 1%. The stock got killed for, you could see the stock coming in January 18th, 19th was the decision. Stock went straight down after that. And they owed him $90 million. So $90 million out of pocket is a lot for this small company, but Flow Rider is willing to take shares, which is 1.5%. So you talk about, okay, just give them the shares, 1.5% dilution. They're going to fight the case and whatnot, but eventually it's 1.5%. Give it to him. The guy's what made Celsius, he was all over the Instagram and whatnot. So if you look at what they're doing, I think any pullbacks on these things, it's a super, super expensive stock. But if you look at the math, the way an analyst would do it, but you know what? I look at someone like 0.72, which is Steve Cohen, Steve, that's my old Dodgers, Steve Sachs, but Steve Cohen at 0.72, they're long the stock, and they get that this thing is growing, compounding at 100%. They're going to get to huge revenues, and not only that, but I think whenever you get a situation where you can't, it's hard to value how much the pie is going to grow. How much? So, if people are thinking, oh, well, are they going to really take, this can that has oranges and, watermelon on it, is that beefy bodybuilder guy at the gym going to be like taking this going and guzzling it down? No, that guy's going to take his monster and he's going to show everybody how big he is, and he's going to guzzle this thing down. Okay. That's not going to change. But when you open up that pie, there's a lot of, you could see the marketing. Just look at the marketing they're doing. Go to the website. You could see what they're using: influencers, pretty girls, good looking guys, like more like the male model type of workout guys. So that's what they're doing. And they're changing the game to bigger the pie. Celsius, long some calls here. And, I think the stock, it's an explosive situation. It's going to take a little bit of time.
It looks ready for a move today.
Yeah, that's why I know. I thought you would like it. That's why I picked. I thought you would like it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the chart. It's got the bullish engulfing. It's still below the 50 SMA, which is somewhere around 100. If it moves above 100,
you might
here are some targets for you, Felix, and the listeners.
Yeah, show me.
Okay, I'll show you. Just
no, tell me what are the targets. You could just yell it out. Right?
So this is the chart.
Okay. 105, 115, 125. There you go.
Yeah, those are the targets, and this is a bullish engulfing. It needs to move back above the 50 SMA, the blue line, and hold it, and that's 100.
Good.
And your support, 89, and today low.
Perfect. All right, I'll be watching.
Big reward if it goes.
Perfect. Options are difficult to play. The options, they're wide. You have to sort of bid in the middle if you want to buy some.
Sure.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, guys. Till next time. I'm looking forward to talking Celsius. Talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Good trading. See you next time.